So what we've done here is we're taking there's our vegetables that we're soaking in the ice and the salt. You can see the ice is melted. So we're just putting them in colanders. We're giving them a good rinse under cold water, which we've done this one already. And then the next step is to include the vegetables with the brining mixture. So here's a batch of brine. Just came up to a boil. We are going to add our vegetables to that, and then we'll bring it back up to heat, almost to a boil, and then start putting it in jars. So we have added our
brine,
pickles, and onions and peppers to the brine. So what we've done is we've rinsed off the pickles and the peppers and onions. You know, they were sitting in the salt and the ice, so we rinsed them, and then we made our brine, brought it up to a boil, turned the heat down, added our vegetables, and now we're bringing it back up to almost a boil.
Almost a boil.
And then when it gets to right when it gets to the boiling point, we'll take it off and we'll start filling the jars. So that sound you hear in the background is a huge thunderstorm rolling through right now.
What's going on over here?
Back here is our lids. They're being sterilized. Those are the lids that are going to go on top of the jars. Here's how I keep my jars warm after they've been washed and sterilized. I keep them in an oven about 200 degrees, and so they're nice and hot because they're going to go into a water bath. And if the glass is cold or cool and you put it into boiling water, it could crack, and then you've got a big mess. So the glass needs to stay hot. The other thing that could happen is, the contents are hot. So you've got hot contents going into a hot jar, going into a hot water bath, so everything is hot, hot, hot.
And that's the way you want it.
That's exactly what you want it, because that keeps things sterile, and it actually helps get things cooking quicker. Here we are. We're starting with the pint-sized jars, and we're going to fill them up. And
a wide mouth funnel.
Yeah, that's a canning funnel. So we just ladle our pickles and brine in the jar. You want to leave about a ½ an inch or so of headspace. And I'm just going to push this down a little bit.
What's that device you're using?
It's actually a chopstick, but you can use whatever.
Spoon.
Dad's gonna use it
if there are bubbles that collect as a result of the pouring of the brine and pickles into the jar, we want to remove the bubbles before we seal it.
Okay.
So.
Can you actually see the bubbles disappearing? Okay.
Yeah, they'll come up to the top.
Okay.
And you can't always get them all out, but if you can get the big ones out.
No, we just.
And that's like a magnet?
Yeah, that's because that water is hot, so it's just a way of getting that out. And then that.
I forgot.
Oh,
I forgot.
That's all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, tell us what you're doing.
We got to wipe the brine residue off
the rim.
The rim before we attach
the lid.
The lid.
Because you want a good seal between the lid and the jar. And sometimes if there's because there's sugar in the brine, it can get sticky, and then you don't have a good seal. Right. So there it is.
We got two down.
Two down, and we're going to keep going just like this.
Little assembly line.
Yep, and until we get them filled, and then the next step will be processing them in a water bath. Okay, so this is our water bath. Basically, it's a big old pot. We'll get the spider out of the way. It's a big old pot of boiling water, and it has a rack in it that holds the jars. And what we're going to do here's the jars that we filled in the kitchen. It'll take 7 jars at one time. We have a kind of a combination here of quarts and pints. So we also have two different kinds of jars. You'll see some, these are called wide mouth, and then like here's a quart jar that has a standard or regular mouth. And it's just on preference. A lot has to do with what you're canning too. Sometimes if you're canning big things, like when we can beets, which will be in next month probably, we like to use the wide mouth jars for that.
But with these pickles you can use either.
Either, yeah.
So there's 7 going in?
7 going in, so they're going into the boiling water. We're going to drop it down. You want to make sure that all the jars are covered. And I'm actually going to add a little bit more water because we do lose some through evaporation here as we go. I'm going to keep it on high. We'll have these come on up to a boil. And they're going to process or boil in the canner here for 15 minutes. And then we'll take them out and put them over with the rest to cool.
I hear them popping.
You hear them popping? That means a vacuum is being created, and that's a good sound. So, we're getting there. Never seems to fail that it always rains every day when in August when we can, but it's all part of the fun. So, we'll be back.
Well, is that what you call it?
Yeah, with Pickle Palooza 2011. So, it's a little steamy. That's why they call it a water bath. So we've got our 7 jars of pickles. They've been processing for 15 minutes. So that's how long they've been in the boiling water here. And
it's
so
alive! It's alive!
It does a number of things. The boiling, of course, kills the bacteria. And also helps to create a vacuum inside the bottle, the jar. So the lids will kind of, through their own process as they cool, the lids will contract and
nurse.
Sorry. And they'll this is real life, folks. Okay, so you see the whole
warts and all, mistakes and all. Oh, now you got some pickle flavored water going.
No, it doesn't. It's not leaking. It's just getting it. There we go. Okay.
Just be careful.
They are heavy, actually.
That's the 7th and final one out of this bath.
And I think, we'll have another couple batches to go. And nothing to do as far as cooling them off other than
just setting them aside.
Yeah, just set them on towels and they'll cool off at their own rate. Okay?
Wonderful.
So we'll go back for more. Well, we're done. And matter of fact, we're on our way out for dinner to celebrate. So this is Bread and Butters 2011. And what do we have here, Dad?
We have 18 quarts and 10 pints. Plus, we got one little Joe here.
Yeah, that's our little special.
Little special.
So we ran over just a little bit. So this is what a half a bushel of pickles and will get you with
5
the recipe.
onions and
10 green peppers.
10 green peppers.
And a whole lot of vinegar and sugar and other good stuff.
Made with love, and Aunt Helen's recipe.
And Aunt Helen's recipe. So here it is. So they're all actually still warm. They're sealing. Every once in a while you hear a pop where the vacuum's created.
They're standing tall and proud, just as proud as you please. Let's have a ball.
So we give out most of these as gifts to our friends and family.
Well, I bet you eat a few too.
But we eat a few, but it's a real great tradition. So if you don't have a pickle tradition, start one. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.